Tell me how the accident happened. How did the accident happen?
Oh, I was, of course, that we had bought the place.
Yeah.
And my wife had aunt and uncle lived down on the creek down here.
Yeah.
And every year we'd come up here to see them.
Yeah.
And we had, and one, really in 1966, I told her uncle, I said, in place like buy 5 or 6 acres,
Yeah.
build my own vacation cabin,
Yeah.
staying up there. So we came back up here in '67, and he told me about this place. There's a place down the creek.
Yeah, your aunt and uncle?
That was her uncle.
Yeah, your in-laws.
And said that the man, it was 88 acres, and the man wanted $4,000 for it.
Uh-huh.
So I came up here and looked at it. Of course, there wasn't no roads.
Yeah.
This was just a logging road then.
Yeah.
And so anyway, her brother, her daddy, my wife's daddy used to cut firewood with an old crosscut saw,
Yeah.
circular saw with a car motor on it.
A
So
car
anyway,
engine.
my brother-in-law told me, he said, Jack, why don't you take Daddy's old saw? He had the old saw, had just a motor on it, and
Yeah.
with a belt, and saw your own lumber up there. I told him all the time, I can't do that. I said, man, he said, yeah, you can. You can weld, and you said, you can. So anyway.
He knew you were a handyman.
Anyway, my son had this '57 Chevrolet.
Yeah.
And he brought the old saw over there, and this Chevrolet, '57 Chevrolet, had a race motor in it.
Uh-huh.
And this old 4-cylinder motor on this saw, well, it was stuck and wasn't any good. So
Yeah.
son was going to sell that Chevrolet, but the man didn't want that motor. So I said, good, I'll just put it on this saw. Can you imagine putting a race motor on a saw? So I had this thing all rigged up, except the belt.
Yeah.
I had to have a belt on it. I had the V8 Chevrolet motor sitting on it and everything. But when we went to church that Sunday, and then we was going to leave that Monday, and the preacher at the end of the sermon, he said, be careful of what you pray, God might answer.
Uh-huh.
Well, I didn't really pay too much attention to that.
No.
So anyway, I came up here. Now I accepted the Lord when I was 35 years old. That was 1964.
Yeah.
But I was just a churchgoer.
Yeah.
I didn't have a relationship with the Lord
Yeah.
Jesus.
You're just busy doing your projects.
And so anyway, I got up here. We had bought the place, and
Yeah.
we sent the money in. Her uncle got the place for
How many acres for
88.
88 acres, wow.
And so anyway, I was up there by myself. And like I said, wasn't nothing here. And I was over there on the mountain praying. And I told the Lord, I said, Lord, I want to have a personal relationship with you. I said, I'm tired of being a hypocrite.
Yeah.
And I've got sin in my life I want to do away with. And he told me, he said, Jack, get on your knees. If you want to talk to me, I mean, put my heart in it.
Yeah.
Got on my knees, and I told him, I said, Lord, if it takes taking one of my limbs or breaking my health down to have a personal relationship with you, this is what I want.
You prayed that?
Well, I really prayed that.
Oh my goodness.
I prayed that on about a Thursday.
Yeah.
We went home Monday morning. Me and wife both worked at Sears.
Uh-huh.
We went to Sears, work that evening. Well, the only thing I liked
North of Dallas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
What city was it?
That saw was a belt on it.
Yeah.
But I wanted to hear that Chevrolet motor run.
Yeah.
So I go directly, and this is Monday after Thursday I prayed it. I go directly to that saw, and it's out there in the backyard, and I've got this pulley that came off this old 4-cylinder motor.
Yeah.
And I put it on this V8 race motor.
A little bit too much
And I
torque.
I thought, what if that thing would come apart? I said, oh, it won't do that. It's made for that. But I didn't think about the difference in the speed, that 4-cylinder motor and that other one.
Hey.
So anyway, I had my hand, putting gas in the carburetor with this arm across that pulley, and that pulley was turning here. And I shortened the solenoid out down there on the starter.
Yeah.
Well, if it started, I wanted to keep running, so I cocked that throttle about 3/4 of the way open.
Yeah.
It caught. Man, in that thing. And the shell, the outside shell, just come off of that spokes, off that pulley. It was turning here, and the shell came off those spokes. And of course, my arm was across it. And when it did, well, it just knocked that arm off. And it knocked me about as far as here, that fence there. Well, I started to get up,
Yeah.
and I couldn't. I looked over on that left arm, gone.
You
I
are
said,
kidding me.
I'm going to die.
Was blood just coming out everywhere?
Yeah, I mean, it was just, just...
Gushing, your heartbeat.
Well,
Yeah.
I picked myself up. I'm going to go ahead and tell you all of it.
Okay, well, I'm guiding it to posterity here.
I picked myself up with this plan. My wife was on the phone.
Yeah.
She heard the noise. Well, she hung up, she dialed the operator, said, we need help. Well, she come running out. By that time, I'd picked up myself, and I just pinched this old stub.
Okay.
I didn't know what I was doing.
How far up does it go?
Right there. Right.
Oh, you cut it off at the shoulder.
Yeah, and I held on to it. I just like it. Started. My son was working on another car he had, and he come running out there. But the best lesson I ever had was I started through. Of course, I had saying, "Where am I going, Lord? Am I going to heaven or hell?" Because I knew I was dying.
Yeah,
I know no doubt in my mind. So anyway, I started out. Had chain link fence, and I started out this gate, and I said, "This will be the last time I'll go through this gate." Well,
you knew your time was up.
I did. Wasn't no doubt.
I mean, your arm was gone.
Yeah, and so anyway, had a real nice brick house.
Yeah.
Had a new car. Had a new pickup. Had
children. Had some children.
I looked at had two children.
Yeah.
I looked at that and I said, that material stuff don't amount to nothing. I said, I'm fixing to leave it. And I thought, oh, I hate to leave my family. Oh, I hate to leave. So anyway, my wife, she come out and we got in the car and we started toward Dallas. She asked me, where you want to go? Well, I was sitting up in the front seat and she's sitting in the back.
I'm going to stand over here, Jack. The lighting's a little better.
And my son was driving.
Yeah.
And we started toward Dallas and my wife asked me, said, where you want to go? I said, well, I guess Baylor.
Tilt your hat back a little bit. Yeah, there you go.
I said, I guess Baylor.
Yeah.
I said, that's a, Baptist hospital, that's the only thing. That was in Dallas.
Yeah.
Now, this was 5:30 in the evening, and we lived about 15 miles out of Dallas in that rush hour.
Yeah.
She said, Jack, let's go to Mesquite. The Mesquite was a little town that me and her both graduated from in middle school, and they had a hospital over there. And I said, well, they can't take care of this. She said, well, they can stop the bleeding. I said, yeah. So we take off and we go to Mesquite. We get over there.
How many miles away was it?
I mean, it was blocked, traffic jammed up.
Oh my gosh.
So I told my son, this side of the street and this side. I got him to go on the opposite side, on completely facing the other traffic on the shoulder. Told him to go through it and go through face that traffic and go through that filling station.
Yeah.
We got to that hospital, and it was, like I say, about 5:30 in the evening. And this man dressed in a suit, he was walking down the sidewalk. When my wife jumped out and said, we need help.
Yeah.
Well, he turned around and looked. He said, you got help.
What'd they say?
That must be some Catholic thing.
Yeah.
And he said, you got help. Well, it was the last doctor that was there, and he was going home.
Oh, my gosh.
And so he turned around there. So anyway, he took me in there. And now this nurse came in there. Now, my wife graduated 2 years before I did. And this nurse came in there. Well, I recognized her. I said, there's Ethel Dean. And she said, yeah, who's you? And I said, well, I married Justine Davis. Oh. I said, well, just tell her I'll be all right. So she goes in there and tells her. And the doctor goes in there. And now my wife never had accepted that the arm was completely gone.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Did y'all bring it with you?
No.
Just left it behind?
So the doctor asked my wife, what do you want to do about the arm? She said, well, save it if you can. He said, well, did you bring it? And my son said, no, we left it. So anyway, my wife hanging up, not an operator. Well, they called the deputy sheriff.
Yeah.
They come out there, and neighbors and everything. They knew there was something bad out.
Yeah.
So anyway, the doctor's office there called the deputy sheriff and told him to find the arm and bring it to a packet in ice. So they found it about...
This is 1960 what? 7?
No, it's 71.
71.
November 1st, 71.
November 1st, 71.
So anyway, they found it about 50 or 60 foot up under some hedges there.
Oh my goodness.
So here, my nephew, my wife's nephew, here he comes bringing my arm, packed in ice and everything.
Yeah.
Well, I seen him, we called him Sprout, and I said, there's old Sprout. He's man, I like to passed out. He said, I was carrying your arm and you was talking to me.
Yeah.
But anyway, the doctor, told my wife that, they couldn't do anything to it, that there I'd have to go to Parkland. Now, Parkland's where they took President
JFK,
Kennedy.
Parkland Hospital.
So anyway, they put me in the ambulance, and this head nurse, went with me.
Mm-hmm.
She rode in the nurse. I mean, she rode in the ambulance. So she was in on the operation when we got. Now she told me this later.
Yeah.
And she told me that after we got up there, the doctors talked about what to do about the arm. And when I asked the other one, if it was your arm, what would you want? He said, well, I'd want to try to put it back on.
Yeah, try to put it on.
He said, well, one of them said, well, I'll put the bone back together if you'll put the vessel back together.
Yeah.
And then
This is at Parkland?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then one doctor said, well, you kind of put it on me, but we'll try it. So sure enough, they put the arm, put a screw in, put the arm, took a vessel out of my leg there and got it.
Tried to get
the blood circulating.
Yeah.
And I don't know, wife said about 36 hours later. Well, of course, I had the arm raised up here.
Yeah.
I seen my fingers turning black.
Yeah.
So I told my wife, I said, my fingers are turning black.
And you couldn't feel them, I don't guess.
No. And
that didn't have any nerve.
She went and got the doctor, and the doctor said, no, that's just grease we couldn't get off.
Yeah.
But I knew better, so that
You
night,
know you had necrosis.
that night it ruptured.
Yeah.
And so they had to take me back down and take the arm off.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Well, at least they tried.
But during that operation, I had this vision. Now, some people say, you know, hallucinated, what do you call it, with the medicine. But it was real to me.
Let's hear it.
I just appeared. I just appeared in this great big auditorium, big room. And the wall was solid glass, just transparent glass. You couldn't tell the beginning to the end of it. And I heard a voice behind me say, over there. Well, I looked over to my left, and this slate just slid out of that wall. And I said, oh, Lord.
What slid out?
Just a glass slate.
Glass slate, yeah.
And I said, oh, Lord, that's my book of life, and I don't have anything on it. I said,
Oh,
Lord,
my
give me a
goodness.
chance to put something on it.
Yeah.
Nothing was said. It slid right back in. I said, oh, I'm going back.
There was no information on it.
And the nurse heard me say, I'm going back.
Did she really?
So anyway, she knew that I was having some kind of vision. So anyway, it rocked along there, and my pastor came to see me. And I asked him, you know, of course, about 2 days after that, I got the feeling sorry for myself.
This was a sermon on Sunday, a prayer on
Thursday,
and
lost the arm Monday.
Lost the arm on a Monday.
And that was all, you know, during the whole week. So anyway, he come to see me, and I said, and of course, I had this 2 or 3 days after it. I was feeling sorry for myself. I had pity. I said, why, Lord? Why me? Just as plain in my heart. He said, Jack, don't you remember your prayer on the mountain?
Oh,
said, yes,
my
Lord.
goodness.
And I ain't never brought that subject up again.
Yeah.
So anyway.
You said to have a closer relationship if you had to lose an arm.
And the pastor came to see me, and I asked him, I said, Wendell, do you know what you said before we went on vacation at the end of the sermon? I said, oh, he said, yeah, I preached on so. I said, no, I don't mean that. I said, do you remember saying, be careful what you pray, God might answer?
Yes.
He said, yeah, I remember that now. I said, why did you say that? He said, Jack, I have no idea. And I told him, well, I do. So I told him what I'd done, you know, what I prayed and everything. But anyway, I went, you know, boss at Sears, I worked at Sears in the maintenance department.
Yeah.
Boss come to see me and told me, Jack, don't worry about your job. You got a job when you come back. Well, of course, I went back and they asked me what I wanted to do. And I said, well, I'd like to try to do the same thing I was doing, of course, doing electrical work, plumbing, and all this kind of stuff. I didn't realize that the Lord was getting me ready to
move here.
do this. So anyway, I went and I put that belt on me.
Yeah.
Oh, about 3 months there. Oh, the Lord kept, you know, saying, what about me? You kept, Lord, you didn't put that in my heart. I put that in my own heart. You didn't put that in my heart. I said, one-armed man can't build no camp. I said, you know.